This is the IWR News for the week ending July 19th. I am foregoing my usual weekly news report to bring you this exhaustive and in-depth report on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Mainstream media has done its usual terrible job of reporting on this, with several legacy media outlets even failing to report the shooting until hours after the event. My team and I have gathered information from many sources to bring you only the facts that can be confirmed. Where I report conjecture, I will state so plainly. I will return to my usual reporting next week, and will cover several other important stories from the past week then. The shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, was armed with a semi-automatic AR-15 rifle, a civilian version of the military M16 rifle. The rifle automatically reloads after each shot and can fire about 60 rounds per minute. The AR-15 is referred to as America's rifle by the NRA. Over 15 million of them have been sold, and it's estimated that 1 in 20 Americans owns one. The AR-15 used by Thomas Crooks was purchased by his father, Matthew Crooks, and police say there is no evidence the father knew Thomas had the gun, nor does it appear that Matthew was in any way involved in the shooting. Crooks was not carrying ID at the time of his death. Reports say he was identified via facial recognition. Crooks was from Bethel Park, about 70 kilometers from the site of the attempted assassination. He graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School with a $500 prize for math and science, according to a local newspaper. He worked in the local nursing home kitchen, a short drive from his home. Crooks passed a background check to work there and had no criminal record. Crooks was registered as a Republican, according to U.S. media, but in 2021 also gave a $15 donation to the liberal campaign group Act Blue, an American nonprofit technology organization and political action committee that provides digital fundraising tools and services primarily for Democratic candidates, progressive organizations, and other left-leaning nonprofits. He had a membership at a local shooting club, the Clairton Sportsman's Club, for at least a year. On Friday, the day before the shooting, Crooks went to the Clairton Sportsman's Club and practiced firing, according to a law enforcement official statement to CNN. The next morning, Crooks went to a Home Depot, where he bought a ladder, and a gun store, where he purchased 50 rounds of ammunition. Then, Crooks drove his Hyundai Sonata about an hour north to the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. He parked the car outside the rally with an improvised explosive device hidden in the trunk that was wired to a transmitter he carried. Then, he used his newly bought ladder to scale a nearby building and open fire on the former president. Note there's no way a 10-foot ladder would have fit inside his car. He would either have had to strap it to the roof, or several feet of the ladder would have been sticking out of the back of his car. Bomb technicians were called to the scene to investigate and defuse the bomb. There's some question about Crooks' ability to hit a target at the 130-meter range from which he was firing. The effective range of the AR-15 is up to 550 meters, but that is in the hands of an expert. Despite Crooks belonging to a gun club, Jamison Myers, a former member of the Bethel Park High School varsity rifle team, who graduated alongside Crooks in 2022, told CBS that Crooks did not make the team. Another former classmate told ABC News he, quote, shot terrible, and wasn't really fit for the rifle team. However, the school district said there was no record of Crooks trying out for the team, and he never appeared on a roster. Another fellow student, Max Smith, who took an American history course with Crooks, told the Philadelphia Inquirer that his former classmate definitely was conservative. Smith recalled a mock debate in which they both took part, saying, "The majority of the class were on the liberal side, but Tom, no matter what, always stood his ground on the conservative side." In new information that surfaced on Tuesday, Thomas Crooks appeared briefly in a BlackRock commercial when he was in high school. BlackRock has taken the commercial down, but it's the internet and nothing ever really disappears. Here is the commercial, as reported by Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire.
My name is Brian DeLallo. I teach AP and Honors Economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say, that guy made this place a special place to come to school and gave as much as he could to help the community.
That was him. This isn't some conspiracy theory. BlackRock acknowledges this. They've pulled the commercial down.
At 6:03 p.m. on Saturday, July 13th, Trump took the stage at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, a town of just over 13,000. Despite the small size of Butler, True North reporter Rachel Parker, who attended the event, estimates there may have been as many as 20,000 people there. At 6:11, the shots were fired. There's some debate on the number of shots fired, with estimates ranging from 4 to 8. Twitter user MilkBarTV posted an excellent compilation video showing the sequence of events. Here is a clip from that video.
If he was doing his job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with a gorgeous ocean. The
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. You see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And still I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look.
And it's
there he
not
is.
easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here. And it's much tougher than if it happened. We have the strongest border ever. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit over that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that says that,
I hope he's turning this way. Be careful, guys.
We got breaking news. Coming in. Shots fired. Seems to be shots fired at the Trump rally. Is he okay? President Trump has been shot. We know he hit the ground. We do not know if President Trump has been shot. He's up. He's up. Shots are still continuing to be fired. He's giving a thumbs up, everybody. He's giving a thumbs up.
While his comments were in reference to immigrants, it is ironic that Trump was speaking about dangerous criminals in America just moments before he was shot. YouTuber Fern also posted an excellent video with 3D renderings showing the sequence of events. The 3D renderings show details that are not evident in other videos.
It's a hot, sweltering early evening as tens of thousands gather here to see Trump. He is surrounded by supporters. Most are sitting or standing in front of the stage. Some sit on the bleachers, center, left, and right. Trump support staff and security, including Secret Service agents, are right at the stage. Behind him are 3 large buildings. On the roof of the building on the far left and on the far right are Secret Service snipers. They are constantly scanning the surroundings, looking for threats. They can be seen in this video filmed by a crowd member.
Hello, Butler, and hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back.
Trump begins with his speech. Things seem normal. He turns to the right and points at a chart showing statistics on border crossings. At the same time, several people in the crowd notice a man with a gun on the roof of a building close by.
He's got a gun!
too late.
Take a look what happened.
All of a sudden, bullets start flying. One even gets captured on camera. Another building, about 400 feet or 120 meters north of the stage. The shots are coming from here, on the roof. He is armed with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. The gun was legally purchased by his father. First, he apparently fires a round of 3 shots.
Take a look what happened.
The first bullet pierces the upper part of his right ear. Secret Service agents swarm the former president and shield him with their bodies. Crooks opens fire again, immediately, with 5 more shots. Right before the first shot by Crooks, one of the snipers on the left roof behind Trump seems to detect the gunman and prepares to return fire. We could not corroborate that it was in fact these specific agents.
I've already covered Crooks' highly questionable skill as a rifleman. However, Donald Trump survived this attack by luck, or divine intervention, depending upon your beliefs, and not due to Crooks' poor shooting. At the last second, just as Crooks pulled the trigger, Trump leaned forward slightly and turned his head further to the right, resulting in the bullet passing through his ear. If he had not moved when he did, the shot very likely would have killed him. Here is an excerpt from a video posted by Ben Shapiro with the Daily Wire.
So you see at the outset of this video is the shot line. The shot line would have gone, presumably, through his right cheek, and it would have blown out the back of his head. Like that's what the original shot line would have done here. And look at this video. It's just astonishing.
Take a look what happened.
He's speaking. That shot line is still going through his head. He turns at the last second. Bullet 1, right past his cheek. Bullet 2, through his ear.
You can see in the video that the 3D rendering is attributed to a website, pointconsciousness.com. Interestingly, when I tried to find the original video, it appears the site has been taken down. Trump also reacted faster than the Secret Service, ducking behind the podium seconds after he was hit. It took Secret Service agents several more seconds to react and cover the former president on the ground. Crooks was killed instantly by a single Secret Service sniper shot. However, the reaction was extremely slow. 26 seconds elapsed from the first shot Crooks fired until he was killed by the sniper. ABC News reported that the building on which Crooks perched when he shot at Trump was the police tactical staging area for providing event security. They went on to state that Crooks did not use a ladder to access the roof. However, we have proof that he did. You can see the ladder in this picture. A Catholic priest who gave the benediction at former President Donald Trump's rally on Saturday reportedly prayed for his safety and urged Americans at the rally to do so too, just minutes before the attempted assassination. As Father Jason Cheron, a Ukrainian Catholic priest, was trying to leave, a group of 15 to 20 people reportedly called him over to a barricade within the rally, asking that he pray with them. Corey Comforter, 50, of Sarver, Pennsylvania, died at the scene. Corey was a veteran firefighter and volunteer fire chief. He died shielding his wife and daughter with his own body. David Dutch, 57, sustained liver damage and broken ribs. He is currently listed in stable condition. James Copenhaver, 74, sustained, quote, life-altering injuries, but the exact nature of those injuries has not been released. As of this afternoon, he was listed in critical but stable condition. Copenhaver's family have requested privacy, while James hopefully recovers. Thomas Matthew Crooks apparently teased the attack online days before he climbed onto a roof and opened fire. Secret Service and FBI officials told U.S. senators doing an all-members briefing on Wednesday, July 17th, that Crooks, 20, wrote a threatening message on the gaming platform Steam days before the attempted assassination. According to the officials, Crooks allegedly wrote, "July 13 will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds." Steam is a popular platform where tens of millions of gamers purchase games and communicate. The discovery was made as investigators continue to review Crooks' technological devices, including his cell phones and laptop. So far, we know that he was accessing photos of Trump and Biden, as well as Trump's speaking schedule. Harrison Faulkner of True North News interviewed former Canadian sniper and record holder for the longest confirmed kill in history, Dallas Alexander. Alexander makes it clear he believes the Crooks had help.
And they started labeling things. And as soon as they said that the shooter was on a rooftop 130 yards from Donald Trump, my immediate thought and reaction was, then he had help to get there. It's just, it's the most obvious place. It should have been the number one priority. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And it would have just took someone sitting. It didn't even have to be a sniper on the roof there. You know, just someone at the base of the building, so random people couldn't climb on a ladder and get a vantage point over top of Donald Trump. None of it makes any sense. I think that the events after the shots fired, there's a lot of talk about confusion, and one of the snipers had someone in their sights and couldn't get permission to shoot, and all the chaos. You know, some of that stuff, if you're telling me it's incompetency, I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, there's been, when things get crazy, communications get crazy, but I don't buy incompetence where they just totally forgot to have someone securing that one building, or, you know, the route to get to the backside of that building that sloped away, so he had a covered approach. None of it makes any sense.
We now know the Crooks planned the shooting in advance, and according to the FBI, Crooks' family is cooperating with the investigation. Police sealed off the road to the house where Crooks lived with his parents. The search of the residence was completed Monday, July 15th. While this is unconfirmed, we do have a report that Crooks' father, Matthew, called police after the shooting, and that there was a bomb investigation of the house. But if anything was found, police have not yet released that information. Speaking to local news outlet KDKA, some young locals who went to school with him described him as a loner who was frequently bullied and sometimes wore hunting outfits to school. Another former classmate of his, Summer Barkley, cast him differently, telling the BBC he was always getting good grades on tests and was very passionate about history. Anything on government and history he seemed to know about, she said, and continued with, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. He was always nice. She described him as well-liked by his teachers. Others simply remembered him as quiet. I have my own theory on Crooks' motivations, which I will give you later in this report. It is the job, in part, of the Secret Service to not only protect sitting presidents, but past presidents as well. It has been 43 years since the last assassination attempt on a former or present U.S. president, when Ronald Reagan was shot in the lung but survived. Many questions have been raised about how a man armed with a rifle was able to climb a building a mere 130 meters from where Trump was shot. Those who attended the rally itself were asked to pass through metal detectors to ensure they were not bringing any weapons, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. As you saw in the Milk Bar TV compilation video, Crooks was seen by multiple witnesses for several minutes, climbing on the roof of the building. Warnings were given to local police, who some said took no action. But we now know that an officer with the Butler County Sheriff's Department did hoist himself up onto the roof and confronted Crooks. The officer was unable to draw his weapon, as he was using both hands to hold on to the edge of the roof. When Crooks swung his rifle toward the officer, he let go. Crooks began shooting very shortly afterward. At least one lawmaker, Republican Representative Mike Waltz of Florida, a member of the House Intelligence Committee, has publicly stated on social media that former President Trump's team made a request for more security, but was denied. A statement from U.S. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said that such claims are absolutely false for a multitude of reasons, responding to assertions made on social media about the incident. He did not go into specifics about the claims or his denials. An FBI special agent also pushed back on those claims on Saturday during a news conference. There was no additional request for security that was ever denied by the FBI, Kevin Rojek, the special agent in charge of the Pittsburgh area office, told reporters. However, more recent as yet unconfirmed reports say that they claim they did not have the resources to add more security. It appears that the Secret Service identified Thomas Crooks as a suspicious person at least an hour before the shooting. The Secret Service told lawmakers on July 17th that the gunmaker was identified as being suspicious 1 hour before he opened fire on former President Trump. According to Republican Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, who was at the briefing, he had a rangefinder and a backpack. The Secret Service lost sight of him, the senator said in a statement posted on X. Someone has died. The president was almost killed, he added, before calling for the head of the Secret Service to resign. His remarks came after members of Congress received a private unclassified briefing from the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice regarding the July 13 assassination attempt on former President Trump and the resulting investigation. The briefing was provided to senators and the House of Representatives amid congressional demands to be informed about the state of investigations into the incident. The U.S. Secret Service Senate briefing was unbelievably uninformative. Only 4 questions were allowed, wrote Senator Ron Johnson on X. The rest of us are supposed to submit questions. I already have, awaiting a response. Not holding my breath, he added. Questions that are being asked in regards to the Secret Service coverage of Trump and response to the shooting include: why was Trump being covered by an alleged B team that was also short-staffed? Joe Biden's wife Jill was attending an event nearby in Pittsburgh at the time of the shooting. It is conjectured that the Secret Service A team was covering her. Why? Trump is obviously at greater danger. Why were there no Secret Service agents or police on the roof of the nearby building Crooks shot from? The building is only 130 meters from the podium, an obvious place for a shooter to set up. Why were no drones being used to surveil the area? Drones are cheap. We would assume their use would be standard practice in situations like this. On at least one count, we do have an explanation for the Secret Service substandard performance. The Secret Service has a DEI policy, which calls for at least 30% women by 2030. At present, there are 24% women on the Secret Service. In the group of agents covering the 6'3" Trump at the podium, the female agent is nowhere near tall enough to shield him. She was also the last of the agents on Trump's protection detail to move into position, several seconds after the other agents had already surrounded him. U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle issued a statement in which she gave her explanation of why there were no security personnel on the roof the crooks fired from. That building, in particular, has a sloped roof at its highest point, and so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from the inside. As you've all seen from the photos, the slope on the roof was minimal, and the Secret Service snipers were posted on sloped roofs. Secret Service personnel on the ground moved quickly during the incident, with our counter-sniper team neutralizing the shooter and our agents implementing protective measures to ensure the safety of former President Donald Trump. The barn roofs are higher than the roof of the building from which Crooks fired. That at least one of the counter-snipers could see him is evidenced by the fact that the counter-sniper ultimately shot Crooks in the head. Cheatle has been summoned to testify before a committee of the U.S. House of Representatives on the 22nd of July and is facing calls to resign over the mishandling of Trump's security. Cheatle, who previously worked as the senior director in global security for PepsiCo, has been the current director of the U.S. Secret Service since September 2022, according to the agency's website. While working at PepsiCo, Cheatle reportedly was responsible for directing and implementing security protocols for the company's facilities in North America. The website also notes that before joining PepsiCo, she served with distinction for 27 years in the U.S. Secret Service, most recently as Assistant Director of the Office of Protective Operations. In this position, Ms. Cheatle managed a $133.5 million budget and collaborated with 10 operational divisions and the Technical Security Division to research, develop, and deploy technologies that reduce risks to protectees, protected families, and protected events. I will also add that we now have unconfirmed reports that Crooks was spotted by Secret Service at least 20 minutes before the shooting. He was carrying a rangefinder and was approached by law enforcement before fading back into the crowd. After Trump was escorted to his armored car, Two female agents can be seen dithering in the foreground, one of them clearly unable to holster her weapon without looking at it. While most of us have no issue with women in law enforcement, we do expect that they meet the same requirements as the men. I personally believe that kind of incompetence and clear unsuitability for the job would have disqualified any man who applied. But due to DEI, we now have a large percentage of law enforcement and Secret Service personnel who are physically incapable of doing the job competently. The convention began as planned yesterday. Trump will be officially nominated as the Republican candidate for the election that will take place this November, and Trump accepted the nomination yesterday. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheetle showed up at the convention, but didn't stay long after being cornered by angry Republicans over her poor performance.
Very disappointed in your leadership. I have called for your resignation, and I'd rather you resign tonight or start answering our questions right now about the death threat to President Trump.
Why would anyone allow the president to go on stage when you know you've got a potential threat and you've got snipers that are trained on You owe nothing. You owe President Trump answers. You cannot fight from
the people of the United States.
A statement was also made at the Republican convention by Trump's 17-year-old granddaughter, Kai Madison Trump. While it's almost certain her speech was written for her, the speech itself is certain to raise Trump in the estimates of many voters.
Hi everyone, my name is Kai Madison Trump. I am the granddaughter of Donald Trump. I'm speaking today to share the side of my grandpa that people don't often see. To me, he's just a normal grandpa. He gets us candy and soda when our parents aren't looking. He always wants to know how we're doing in school. When I made the high honor roll, he printed it out to show his friends how proud he was of me. I know. He calls me during the middle of the school day to ask how my golf game is going and tells me all about his. But then I have to remind him that I'm in school and I'll have to call him back later. When we play golf together, if I'm not on his team, he'll try to get inside of my head. I know. And he's always surprised that I don't let him get to me. But I have to remind him I'm a Trump too. Even when he's going through all these court cases, he always asks me how I'm doing. He always encourages me to push myself to be the most successful person I can be. Obviously, he sets the bar pretty high, but who knows, maybe one day I'll catch him. On Saturday, I was shocked when I heard that he has been shot, and I just want to know if he was okay. It was heartbreaking that someone would do that to another person. A lot of people have put my grandpa through hell, and he's still standing. Grandpa, you are such an inspiration, and I love you.
What seemingly everyone on both sides of the political fence agree on is that the already iconic image of a bloodied Trump raising his fist in the air before Secret Service removed him from the stage will greatly increase his popularity and likely swing many undecided voters his way. "They're not really after me, they're after you," is a common Trump refrain on T-shirts, billboards, and car stickers. I'm just in the way. The Biden campaign has already pulled all negative advertising directed at the former president, lest it be viewed as inappropriate given the national mood. President Biden also rescheduled a trip to Texas planned for Monday. Trump's wife, Melania, issued a well-said and sobering statement on social media. Let us not forget that differing opinions, policy, and political games are inferior to love. Our personal, structural, and life commitment until death is at serious risk. Political concepts are simple when compared to us, human beings. We are all humans, and fundamentally, instinctively, we want to help one another. American politics are only one vehicle that can uplift our communities. Love, compassion, kindness, and empathy are necessities. And let us remember that when the time comes to look beyond the left and the right, beyond the red and the blue, we all come from families with a passion to fight for a better life together. While many conservative Canadians are celebrating Trump's survival of the assassination attempt, some Canadian leftist professors are taking well-deserved flack for highly inappropriate social media posts. "Damn, so close, too bad," wrote University of British Columbia medicine professor Karen Pinder. Responding to Pinder, UBC animal care researcher Ingrid Barta wrote, "Damn it, so close. And now he'll milk being a victim for more votes. I really wish the person had better aim." Pinder then replied to Barta, "What a glorious day this could have been." Pinder and Barta have since deleted their X accounts. There are now several calls for the professors in question to be fired, with social media users expressing disgust. This is just my personal opinion, but as distasteful and immature as their comments were, I don't believe they should be fired. If we, as conservatives, stand for free speech, then we should be in favor of free speech for everyone. Had they said, someone should shoot him, that's inciting violence, and it is illegal to incite a crime. However, they stopped short of that, only expressing their regret that he wasn't killed. I do understand that some of you may see this differently. I only raise this point as a caution, that we don't become like the left, seeking to silence anyone who says anything we don't like. Justin Trudeau spoke with former President Donald Trump in a call July 14th, the day after the shooting. According to a statement from the PM's office, during the call, the Prime Minister condemned the, quote, appalling attempted shooting of Mr. Trump and reiterated there's no place for political violence. Do you mean the kind of violence you had police use against peaceful protesters at the Freedom Convoy, Justin? That kind of political violence? Mr. Trudeau also wished the former president well and offered condolences to all shooting victims and to the family of Corey Compertor, the former fire chief who was killed while shielding his family from the sniper's bullets. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre condemned the attempted murder of former President Trump in a post on social media. "I am relieved he is safe. My prayers are with other innocent people harmed or killed by this heinous act," Mr. Poilievre said on Platform X on July 13th. "I'm also happy that the suspected shooter is dead. Democracy must prevail." NDP leader Jagmeet Singh and Yves Blanchette, leader of the Bloc Québécois, also publicly condemned the attack. The far-left Lincoln Project, whose co-founder has openly and publicly called for someone to, quote, put a bullet in Trump, is still looking to get the former president assassinated by comparing him to Adolf Hitler. 3 days after Crooks fired off 8 rounds at Trump, the Lincoln Project released this video comparing Trump to Hitler. The strong suggestion is being made by the Lincoln Project that someone should not only kill him, but must.
In the 1930s, Hitler didn't just seize power. It was handed to him by the wealthy, by the powerful, by a compliant elite, by people who thought they were above the angry masses and violent anti-Semites. He was given power by Germans who knew what he believed, but thought they could contain him, control him, that his crazed speeches and dangerous antics were just for show, that his hatred would never turn on them. But like every dictator before or since, Hitler used his power to bring death, despair, and tragedy to the world. Before the world said, never again, millions of Germans believed, it can't happen here. Germany bet wrong in 1933. Will we?
He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
Leftist media has supported the Lincoln Project position in the past. Here's a clip from a recent MSNBC interview with Robert De Niro. The important takeaway here is not De Niro's comments, as Robert comes across as less inflammatory than the statement made by the interviewer. I'm sorry I don't watch mainstream media, so I have no idea who this woman is. But listen to what she says when she asks De Niro the first question.
Over the last 8 years, we've heard you talk about the former president. You have called him a fraud, a con artist. You've said he's a New Yorker like you, and you have watched this brand of BS What do you think about that?
I think of how absurd it is. And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case. It's the least important in many ways, and yet it's the one that could be tried and finished in well enough time for people to just take that in.
You have watched this brand of BS for decades. Well, that's certainly a shining example of neutrality in journalism. Sometimes people ask me why I'm not more neutral in my own reporting. There's your answer right there. And there are many other such examples of mainstream media's bias. Legacy media's constant promotion of the left agenda forces conservative reporters such as myself to push back. Jack Black, another Democrat who has publicly expressed a dislike for Trump, saying he wanted to, quote, save the world from Trumpian destruction, is now trying to distance himself from a comment made by Tenacious D bandmate Kyle Gass at a concert in Sydney, Australia this past Sunday. Gass was celebrating his birthday. Here's the clip.
Happy birthday, make a wish, Canada. Don't miss Trump next time.
Black canceled the rest of the tour, and Gass has since apologized for his inappropriate comment, presumably at least partly in response to pressure from Black. It should be noted that Black has 3 new movies coming out in the next year. And finally, in responses from the left, we have Australia's Sky News' popular Lefties Losing It segment, where one of their reporters interviewed Americans on the street.
Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, but this time it's Trump assassination attempt conspiracy theory edition. And guess what? We are heading out into the wild, going deep into lefty territory where the clown show is in full swing. And I'm talking A+ level insanity.
It's a false flag.
False flag?
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? So you just thought it was fake?
Of course.
1 person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened there?
Small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? That doesn't mean anything to Trump.
The attempted assassination of Trump aside, President Joe Biden continues to lose support from the left. Tom Strickler, who co-founded the Hollywood talent agency WME, which is now part of Endeavor, has launched an all-out assault on Joe Biden's campaign, according to a New York Times report. He has already met with Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico, delivering the senator an ultimatum. If you don't publicly call for Biden to step aside, Strickler said he told Senator Heinrich's team on Thursday morning, you are not getting a dime from me. Strickler told the Times that he had also been planning to give the maximum legal amount in August to each of the 7 most vulnerable Democratic Senate candidates, but that as of now, he would not be supporting them because they have not broken with Biden. This comes just as Jeffrey Katzenberg, who serves as Biden's campaign co-chair, held an emergency meeting Wednesday with the 81-year-old president in Las Vegas, where he warned that donations are drying up due to ongoing concern about the president's age, according to a Semaphore report. The Biden campaign had $240 million on hand at the end of the second quarter, versus Trump's $285 million, and that was before the debate kicked off concerns about his ability to run and win. Other famous or wealthy Democrats calling for Biden to step down include George Clooney, Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel, Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings, veteran studio boss Barry Diller, and Lost creator Damon Lindelof. Rob Reiner, one of Biden's most loyal Hollywood supporters, has also called on the president to step down. So far, Joe Biden is refusing to relinquish his grip on power, vowing to remain on the Democrat ticket despite growing calls for him to quit. And the Democratic Party is taking some very unusual moves to see that Biden remains on the ballot with a virtual roll call. Quentin Fulks, President Biden's principal deputy campaign manager, who Biden recently referred to as that black man in an interview when he couldn't remember his name, confirmed on July 16th that the Democratic National Committee will move forward with the plan as previously scheduled and organize a virtual roll call before the convention. The plan to nominate the president ahead of the convention stemmed from an Ohio law that requires all candidates to be legally certified by August 7th in order to qualify for ballot access. With the DNC convention not beginning until August 19th, under the law, President Biden would have been kept off the November ballot in the state. However, on May 31st, Ohio's legislature approved a measure to temporarily extend the certification deadline so that President Biden would be eligible for the November ballot. Despite the temporary fix granting the president Ohio ballot access, the DNC said at the time that it will still hold the early virtual roll call. I should mention that this virtual roll call can be easily hacked, somewhat similar to mail-in ballots. While new information may change my theory about Thomas Crook's motivation, from the information we have now, I believe he acted alone. Thomas Crooks fits the profile of many in the past who have taken out their frustrations on society by shooting people. Crooks was described by his classmates as a loner who often wore combat fatigues to school. According to some, he wanted to be on the varsity shooting team but couldn't qualify. He regularly went to a gun range, and he clearly planned the attack in advance. Also note the significant thing that is missing from what we know of Thomas Crooks, a reasonably attractive and clearly intelligent young man who some classmates referred to as always nice. He had a job and a car, but he did not have a girlfriend. We know he was bullied at school, likely due to being socially awkward. Was Thomas Crooks frequently referred to by his class and workmates as an incel, that is, an involuntary celibate, for his inability to attract female attention? We know he was almost certainly marginalized in school for his conservative views, and having had 2 kids go through high school in recent years, I can attest that our schools today are hotbeds of leftist ideology. Crooks identified as a Republican, and that may be the very reason he tried to kill Donald Trump. Once again, remember that all of this is just me, as an armchair psychiatrist, theorizing. But did Thomas Crooks attempt to kill Donald Trump because he believed that would change the opinion of his peers, who, largely identifying with the left, and in many cases seeing Donald Trump as the Antichrist, as he is often painted by leftist media? Perhaps, in Crooks' mind, he believed that he would, with this one act, an act he may or may not have believed he would survive, become a hero of sorts. While this belief is clearly irrational, Thomas Crooks was obviously mentally unstable. Sane people don't do what he did. As a final note, on Monday, Trump also celebrated a major legal victory. Florida Judge Eileen Cannon has granted Donald Trump's motion to dismiss the U.S. Justice Department's case dealing with his handling of classified documents. Judge Cannon ruled the Attorney General's appointment of a special prosecutor in the case was unlawful. Special counsel Jack Smith will almost certainly ask a federal appellate court to review and overturn Judge Cannon's decision. And depending on the outcome of that appeal, the losing party could then turn to the U.S. Supreme Court. All of this takes time, and with the presidential election just months away, that's a commodity the special counsel has in short supply. On the day the Republican National Convention began, just 2 days after he was nearly felled by an assassin's bullet, Trump was handed a big legal win. That is all for this week's special edition of the Iron Will Report. As I mentioned last week, for July and August, I'm slowing down a little and only releasing 1 interview per week. This week, on Sunday, we are all concerned about government and corporate surveillance, as well we should be. Hakeem Anwar, founder of Above Phone, gives us the details on their completely secure phones that are secure out of the box, with no special knowledge needed to use them. And when you buy one of their phones, you get, included with your purchase, 45 minutes of one-on-one tutoring on how to maximize your privacy without sacrificing function. You can even use GPS on an above phone without being tracked.